Well, good evening, everybody, or as it's now just gone 8:20 here in Scotland, it's Central Time. What's that? 2:20 in the afternoon. So, good afternoon to viewers in America. And yes, in answer to not my verbiage to your question, Linda, yes. Every time I enter this studio and this back screen, time seems to just stand still. Anyway, first of all, this is my granddad's old conductor's baton. It's a little bit like a Harry Potter wand. Okay, this is a conductor's baton. You use it to conduct time in an orchestra. It was presented to my granddad. It says, "To my dear teacher from Joan, February 1939." And it's silver and wood. Silver at this end, silver in the middle, where it says Carmine Capaldi, and silver at this end. February 1939. But the conductor's baton has been around for centuries. And in fact, history tells us that way back in 1687, one of the most prominent users of a large, sometimes 6-foot long stick was a conductor who was conducting an orchestra, a French conductor called Jean-Baptiste Lully. And as I say, this big stick, a lot bigger than the conductor's baton, this big stick was actually used by the conductor to bang the time on the floor, the stick on the floor, banging the time to make people stick to time. Sadly, an accident. The stick broke and he ended up stabbing himself in the foot and sadly passed away a couple of months later of gangrene poisoning from the wound that he inflicted on himself. Now let's have a look at the motion from, I need to do this first. The motion where Kathleen Zellner points out that the state of Wisconsin has done the same as Jean-Baptiste Lully and have stabbed themselves in the foot. And just make sure that everything's working as it should do. And then, now I know that most of you will have read through maybe this article, at least this particular item, this motion from Kathleen Zellner. But I just thought that seeing as we're where we are in the case at the moment, it's good to look back to January 24th, 2019. So let's just have a look through and see what Kathleen Zellner was saying back then. So this is the state of Wisconsin, the people who have stabbed themselves in the foot versus Stephen Avery, soon to be the first person in American history to be wrongfully convicted and exonerated twice. So we have a bit of a long title, this one. Defendant appellant's motion to stay appeal and remand the cause for proceedings on claims for relief in connection with the state's violation of Wisconsin statute 968205 and Youngblood versus Arizona. Now, I was going to have a look at this Youngblood Arizona case. It's particularly distressing, so I decided no. I might, in fact, post a link in the description below to anybody that particularly wants to look at some of the gory details of the Youngblood versus Arizona State. But I'm quite happy to take it as being the fact that Youngblood versus Arizona was a very important case with regard to destruction of evidence. Anyway, defendant appellant Stephen A. Avery Sr., Mr. Avery, by his undersigned attorneys, Kathleen Zellner and Stephen Richards, moves this court to stay this appeal and remand the cause for a hearing on a claim for relief in connection with the state's violation of Wisconsin statute and Youngblood. In support of this motion, Mr. Avery states as follows. The undersigned counsel has uncovered the state's violation of Wisconsin statute where it failed to 1, preserve certain suspected human bone evidence, and 2, notify Mr. Avery and his attorneys of record of its intent to destroy such evidence. Mr. Avery hereby moves for a remand to the circuit court to conduct proceedings consistent with the claim alleged herein. The state's wrongful conviction of Mr. Avery was based almost exclusively on fake, bogus, made-up forensic evidence. At trial, the state told the jury that all of the incriminating forensic evidence was in close proximity to Mr. Avery's residence. Prosecutor Sweaty Price, Mr. Kratz, in his opening statement, relied upon several computer-generated scene models which allegedly illustrated the location of incriminating forensic evidence and its link to Mr. Avery. The Sweaty Price claimed that Miss Holbach was murdered and mutilated in Steve's garage and burn pit. The former disgraced Calumet County special prosecutor attempted to link the following forensic evidence to Mr. Avery because of its proximity to his residence. A, the .22 Glenfield firearm above Mr. Avery's bed, which was identified as the murder weapon. B, the bullet with Teresa's DNA on it in Steve's garage, which was allegedly fired from this gun. C, the location of Teresa's RAV4 on the salvage yard with Steve's blood and Teresa's blood inside. The human remains detection dog Brutus alerted on the RAV4, indicating that a deceased person had been in that vehicle. D, Teresa's electronic devices found in Steve's burn barrel. E, the RAV4 license plates near Steve's residence. And the key magically found in Steve's bedroom. Sweaty claimed that the proximity of Mr. Avery's burn pit to his residence was particularly incriminating to him. Kratz specifically told the jury, this particular computer-generated animation is important to embrace or for a jury to look at the case because the burn area is clearly visible. How close is it to Mr. Avery's garage? How close it is to the trailer? How close it is to the other area? What's called the curtilage. That is the area that surrounds Mr. Avery's property. All becomes important. In his closing argument, the prize told the jury that the location of the bones in Steve's pit was the most important evidence of Steve's intentional murder of Teresa. Sweaty told the jury the following. We could start with the moment or with the visual or with the image of that man, Steve, standing outside a big bonfire with flames over the roof, or at least over the garage roof, and the silhouette of Steve with the bonfire in the background, and the observation made by some witnesses. And that moment, by the way, although dramatic and although important, should tell the whole story. At Steve's trial, his trial defense counsel, Jerry, stressed the importance of the bones found in the Manitowoc gravel pit when he said, if that body was burned somewhere and then moved and dumped on Steve's burn pit, then Steve is not guilty, plain and simple. Now, that is why the state has gone to such trouble avoiding the fact that the bones were moved. That's why you heard nothing about it here, because it does not fit with their framing and making Stephen Avery guilty. Sweaty stated in his rebuttal at trial, these bones in the quarry, I'm only going to take 20 seconds to talk about, because the best anyone can say is that they are possible human. Kratz acknowledged the importance of having the bones identified as human, but he dismissed the defense claim that the bones were human because of the lack of scientific verification for that claim. Sweaty told the jury the events of these two locations, Mr. Avery's garage and burn pit, told the whole story, and only one person committed this crime. Therefore, the identification of the Manitowoc County gravel pit bone fragments as Miss Holbach's is material because it is apparently exculpatory and potentially useful, I would say extremely useful, in proving the murder and mutilation did not occur in a location tied exclusively to Steve. No reasonable trier of fact could conclude that if Steve murdered and mutilated Teresa in the Manitowoc County gravel pit, he would move her bones from the gravel pit to his own pit and thereby incriminate himself. The state's illegal transmittal of the bones to the Holbach family. On December the 17th, 2018, Steve filed a motion to stay and remand this appeal for scientific testing of several suspected human bones recovered from the Manitowoc County gravel pit. December 17th, 2018, defendant appellant's motion to stay appeal and remand the cause for new scientific testing, the December 17, 2018 motion. Specifically, Steve proposed rapid DNA testing that has been successfully used to obtain DNA identifications from bones burnt to a degree similar to those recovered from the Manitowoc County gravel pit. This testing, argued Steve, is relevant and material because the identification of the bones as Teresa's is compelling evidence that her murder and mutilation did not occur in a location connected exclusively to Mr. Avery. Therefore, no reasonable trier of fact could conclude that if Mr. Avery murdered Teresa in the Manitowoc County gravel pit, he would move her bones to his own burn pit, thereby incriminating himself. Thus, Steve argued, if the rapid DNA testing identifies Miss Holbach's bones in the Manitowoc County gravel pit, two inferences are reasonable. One, Steve is not the murderer, and two, the bones recovered from Mr. Avery's burn pit were planted. There is, therefore, a reasonable probability that such testing would undermine confidence in the jury's verdict. On December 28, 2018, this court denied Mr. Avery's motion, finding that the scope of this appeal is limited to a review of the circuit court's orders denying Mr. Avery's Wisconsin statute 97406 motions, and that further scientific testing of evidence is not necessary to decide the instant appeal. After filing Mr. Avery's December 17, 2018 motion, undersigned counsel discovered a previously undisclosed police report, September 20, 2011 report. Specifically, a third party provided counsel with a copy of the report attached and incorporated as Exhibit A is a copy of the September 20th, 2011 report. See if I can make that a bit bigger. Hope you can see that okay. It's a bit faded. Tag number 7411. Calcined human bone fragments. Possible cut edges. Quarry pile 3. 7412. Human and non-human bone. Non-biological. Some bone, not calcined. 5 of 13 burned, calcined with cut edges. Most bone fragments are all cut bone. Fragments are human. No element, whatever that means. 7413. 1 burned human fragment. 7414. Burned, calcined human bone fragments. 7416. Human bone fragments. Human is calcined with 1 cut. And next we have cut, burned human bone, 7419. 7422. 2 bone fragments of possible human origin. 7424. Cut sacrum fragments, not likely human. 8765. Possible human burned cut pelvis fragments, calcined bone fragments of unknown origin. So that was Exhibit A of the September the 20th, 2011 report. Now, the September 20th, 2011 report reflects the Calumet County Sheriff's Department's transfer of multiple suspected human bone fragments from the Manitowoc County gravel pit to the Whiting Funeral Home for return to Teresa's family. And incidentally, neither Steve nor anybody else knows whether, well, I suppose the people at the Whiting Funeral Home might know whether the Holbach family buried or cremated the suspected human bones. Specifically, the suspected human bones from the Manitowoc County property tag numbers 11, 12, 14, 16, 19. So look at those. So that's 11. Should say 14. 11, 12, 14, 16. 11, 12, not 13, 14, 16. 11, 12, 14, 16. 19. Yeah. Were returned to the Holbach family according to the September 20, 2011 report. The exhibits attached to Mr. Avery's December 17, 2018 motion describe the location of the suspected human bones in the Manitowoc gravel pit as reflected in Dr. Leslie Eisenberg's report. In 2016, Suzanne Hagapan, Miss Hagapan of the Wisconsin State Public Defender's Office, who had been Steve's prior post-conviction and appellate attorney, provided to undersigned counsel offices entire file pertaining to their representation of Steve. The September 20th, 2011 report is not present in undersigned counsel's file kept on this case. Attached and incorporated herein as Exhibit B is the affidavit of Kurt Kingler, law clerk for undersigned counsel. On January the 3rd, 2019, counsel contacted Miss Hagapane to request that she confirm whether she had ever seen the September 20, 2011 report. Kathleen has obtained an affidavit from Miss Hagapane, incorporated as Exhibit C. In her affidavit, Ms. Hagapane explains her representation of Steve began in July 2007 and ended when the Wisconsin Supreme Court denied his petition for review on December the 14th, 2011. Wow, isn't that amazing? Just a few, just not, when was, so September 20, 2011, December the 15th. Less than a few months later, just a few months later, when the appeals court, Wisconsin Courts of Appeal, denied Steve relief. On September 20, 2011, Ms. Hagapane and her co-counsel, Martha Askins, Ms. Haskins, were Steve's attorneys of record. Ms. Hagapane has no recollection of having seen this police report before undersigned counsel delivered it to her on January the 3rd, 2019. Further, Ms. Hagapane does not recall having a conversation with a representative of the state pertaining to tendering items of evidence from Mr. Avery's criminal case to the family of Teresa Halbach. Moreover, Ms. Hagapane avers that had she seen this report or had a conversation with a representative of the state regarding the returns of items of evidence to the family of Teresa, she definitely would remember it. Hagapane and Askins filed Steve's Wisconsin statute post-conviction motion on June 29th, 2009. That motion was denied by the Circuit Court on the 25th of January 2010, and Hagapane and Askins timely appealed on February the 10th, 2010. This court affirmed the Circuit Court's order denying relief on August the 24th, 2011. Then, on September the 20th, 2011, during the pendency of Steve's appeal, the Calumet County Sheriff's Department, together with Assistant Attorneys General Tom Fallon and Norman Ghan, shot themselves in the foot. They arranged for the return of certain suspected human bones from the Manitowoc County gravel pit to the family of Teresa. On September the 22nd, 2011, Hagapane and Askins filed their petition for review in the Wisconsin court. That petition was denied December the 14th, 2011. See what it says here. The defendant notes that while state tendered the evidence at issue here to the family of Teresa Halbach, after this court affirmed the Circuit Court's denial and before Steve filed his petition for review in the Wisconsin Supreme Court, his appeal was pending on September the 20th, 2011. Indeed, pursuant to Wisconsin statute, a criminal defendant must file petition for review within 30 days of the Court of Appeal's decision. Therefore, defendant's appeal was yet pending on September the 20th, 2011, 27 days after the Court of Appeal's decision. The state, without notifying Steve and his attorneys, and during the pendency of Steve's direct appeal, caused material and potentially exculpatory evidence to be transmitted to the Halbach family for its potential destruction by cremation or burial. On January 24th, 2019, undersigned counsel received her own copy of the September 20, 2011 report from the Calumet County Sheriff's Office and was able to verify the accuracy of the report provided to Ms. Hagapane. Because the state violated Wisconsin's preservation of biological evidence statute, Mr. Avery's due process rights were per se violated. His conviction cannot stand. I think that's a good point to leave it there for now, and we'll come back to some more of this at a later date. I really want to make them nice little bite-sized pieces to have a look at. Let's say, if you want to check out the story of Jean-Baptiste Lully, the conductor that managed to stab himself in the foot, and you'll find that quite an interesting story. But yeah, looking at this handing back of evidence, right in the middle of Steve's appeal to the appeals court being denied, and before the Wisconsin Supreme Court had made a decision on that case, I think it speaks volumes of the fact that somebody at the Wisconsin Department of Justice, Fallon, Ghan, I think they got the heads up that Steve was definitely going to lose his final battle, and that in fact the Wisconsin Supreme Court weren't even going to listen to Steve's case. And I think once the Court of Appeals had decided against Steve, that they took that as their cue to then do what they wanted with the cremains. I think it's pretty obvious, but as usual, pop your opinions in the comments section below. Let's say, keep it nice and short. I'll catch you all. Let's just turn that off. No, hit the wrong button. Let's try that again. Hit the wrong button. Let's just quickly go through a quick name check just to finish off. Who have we got here? Linda, Mandy, Linda, Dockside. Hi, Mandy. Mystic Jinx. Hi there, Mystic Jinx. Darkside Mandy. Alice. Oh, Sharon's here. Hi, Sharon. It's Mystic Jinx. Mandy. Linda. Linda. Yes, I don't recall. Carl. Hi, Carl. I don't recall. I think we've got all the usual suspects here. Jazz Naz, yes. Hi, Jazz. Alice. Oh. Sometimes I just can't get this. There we go. Get this bar to work. JD. Hi, JD. JD, Alice. Yep, I think I've Bean Green. Hi, Bean Green. Yep, I think. Yep, I think that's everybody here. So thank you all for tuning in live. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow. Oh, Dave is here as well. Hi, Dave. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, we'll look at the next part of this document. As I say, I know people went over it at the time, but it's always good to go over this stuff again with another look. And we've got Donna Marie. Hi, Donna. There in the chat. Okay, I'll catch you all later. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and evening. I will go and watch some football with possibly a certain alcoholic beverage in hand. And who says blokes can't multitask, eh? We'll catch you later. Bye for now.